Today this field sits quietly under a cloudy, cold fall day in Georgia. But 200 years ago, something entirely different happened here. The Battle of Shepherd's Plantation. Just this marker is almost 100 years old. Here in rural Georgia, you'll find this weathered monument sitting on the side of the road, pointing out the site of the Battle of Shepherd's Plantation, fought on June 9, 1836. On this site was fought the Battle of Shepherd's Plantation between Creek Indians and pioneer settlers aided by volunteer soldiers stationed at Fort Ingersoll, Jones, and McCreary under Major Henry W. Jernigan and Captain Hamilton, Germany. The battle was one of the largest fights of the Creek War of 1836. Stewart County lost 4, killed Captain Robert Billups, Jared Irwin, David Delk. Erected through efforts of Roanoke Chapter, Daughters of American Revolution. After the disastrous raid on Roanoke by Jim Henry and the Yuchi warriors, the United States went to war against portions of the Creek Nation that had taken up arms. General Winfield Scott was assigned to the command of the effort, and in his typical plotting style slowly implemented a plan to surround a large block of Creek country with regular and militia troops. To achieve this, Forts McCreary and Jones were established along the east side of the Chattahoochee River. By June, a force of Georgia militia had also camped at Shepherd's Plantation, a large farm between these two forts. The slave cabins and other structures of the plantation were used to house soldiers. Despite reports of Indian activity in the area, the militia soldiers were not particularly on their guard. What they did not know was that they were being closely watched by a large force of Creek warriors, probably led by Jim Henry of Roanoke notoriety. The opportunity for an attack came on June 9, 1836, when the soldiers at Shepherd's Plantation divided into multiple groups. Some went to Fort McCreary, some went out to scout, and others broke off to wash clothes. Firing off their weapons to create the ruse of a battle in progress, the Creeks lured Captain Hamilton Garmany and his men into coming out of their quarters at the plantation to a nearby swamp to investigate. They walked right into a trap. Here we are at the site of Fort Jones. The sign says Fort Jones, a stockade fort built during the Creek Uprising of 1836, stood on this site. After the burning of Roanoke, the frightened settlers sought refuge in its blockhouse, built of upright skin logs with high windows for gun holes. The fort was built under command of Major H.W. Jernigan and garrisoned by a company of Stewart County citizen soldiers. Among them were Thomas J. Still, Captain Ball, Jared Irwin, Colonel F.J. Gibson, Captain Robert Billups, David Delk, Colonel A.P. Rood, and James Fitzgerald, who rode to Fort McCreary for aid for the Battle of Shepherd's Plantation. As you can see, today, nothing resembling the fort stands. It is absolutely amazing the kind of history you can find just on the side of the road that's been largely forgotten about, like the Battle of Shepherd's Plantation. It's an amazing sight that a battle happened there 200 years ago. And now you'd have no idea anything happened there if it weren't for a little roadside marker. And like this sign behind me, this historic marker, you'd have no idea that a fort actually stood here. So it just amazes me the amount of history. This, like I said, is largely forgotten about, but you can find sometimes just on the shoulder of the road. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next adventure. I never would have even known this was here if I hadn't just been driving by one day and saw it out the corner of my eye.